Here's a man who needs absolutely no introduction, but I'll introduce him anyway. 9 Olympic gold medals. That's one of only 5 Olympians who have won 9 or more. 7 in one Olympics, 1972, minus the moustache. Probably long gone, I would have thought. The incomparable Mark Spitz. Welcome to Sportsvibe TV, Mark.
My pleasure.
And why are we here in Abu Dhabi?
Well, we're here for the Laureus Awards. It's the 11th one that we've had, and it's to pay homage and for the award winners for the accomplishments in sport from the year 2010, which we just left. So it's kind of exciting, and it adds to the programs and opportunities that we create for kids around the world.
Now, there aren't too many Olympians with 9 gold medals behind them, but it was some time ago. But the name Mark Spitz resonates today, 2011, and you've got to be a kid not to know who Mark Spitz is. Why is that?
I have no idea. The internet. How's that?
No, come on, you're being modest. It's a feat that people still remember.
You know, I actually think that because of Michael Phelps breaking my record a couple of years ago, it sort of brought to light that accomplishment. I mean, you know, in the past when we had an Olympic Games before Michael Phelps, it was like, okay, fine, Mark Spitz won 7 gold medals, but there was nobody in contention to try to challenge that record. So when he came along back in the Olympic Games from Athens, and he had a good chance at it and a good shot at winning 6 gold medals and 2 bronze medals. I mean, that was a phenomenal accomplishment. Then, of course, all of the fanfare leading up to the Beijing Olympic Games, he put on his bathing cap and he went to town and he broke that record, so it was great. So after 36 years, I was happy to pass the baton, and I think that that's probably been a new awareness of the fact of why I think my name has been sort of still in the forefront, because he sort of helped bring it to life again.
And I think you genuinely were, weren't you? Because, I mean, you held the record for a long, long time, and I guess it's quite nice to pass the baton on, especially to a fellow American, and, to let someone else enjoy the time.
Absolutely. I mean, not that I felt that it was a burden of responsibility, but the cliche that records are made to be broken is so true. And I think that if you think about, what could have been the accolade of my accomplishment was to inspire somebody, not necessarily to become a multi-gold medal winner, but somebody to just be inspired to say, listen, I think I like the sport of swimming. I'd love to participate maybe in the Olympic Games if I'm given the opportunity to train for something like that. And of course, he took it to the next level, and he took it to a level that not only he wanted to try to accomplish something that I did, but he went beyond that. And if I was the reason for that, then that's the greatest reason of what my accomplishment meant, which is that, I did what I did. How did that make an effect and have an impact on swimming in the future? And it took 32 years for somebody to go ahead and try to break that record. So for me, I felt it was really a great testament to what I represented to the sport, and I take it at that. I can't take it any other way. I mean, I certainly couldn't possibly be jealous about what he did, because I wasn't in the competition with him, so I couldn't have lost to him. I just patted him on his back and, hey, you take it for a while.
Well, I tell you what, he may have beaten you, but to be fair, he's got about 35 years in you, so that's not a fair fight. And you did it with a large moustache, let's not forget that. Tell us about that. You did it almost on purpose, didn't you?
Pretty much, yeah.
People kept saying, why have you got that? Take it off.
I think it became a distraction, and if they were worried in a funny sort of way, and I found it kind of comical to say, well, if they're thinking about that sort of stuff, then that kind of takes my mind off my responsibility, and then I was able to kind of like put it all together and swim.
So you actually think your opponents were slightly distracted by the thing on your upper lip?
Probably.
So your moustache played its part.
Yeah, probably. But then the following year, a lot of the Russian swimmers and a lot of other guys that were from other nations said, well, if it worked for him, why not? I wish I should try it, maybe.
Yeah. Well, listen, I mean, when you hung up your goggles in 70, after 72, obviously, you were very young, weren't you?
Yeah, I was 22.
Yeah, it was because why? Because there was no other mountain to climb?
Well, they didn't have professionalism. I was in dental school. I had to go on with my life, and I had been now with 2 Olympic Games under my belt. And I went out and swam in 7 events. I broke 7 world records. I accomplished everything that I had dreamed that I was hopefully capable of doing. I did so, and then that was another chapter in my life. I closed that book and went forward. I think if the rules had been different then as they are currently, yes, certainly I would have probably continued in the sport. I wouldn't have been considered a professional. I would have been allowed to then compete in the Olympic Games the following 4 years, which was in Montreal, and it would have been in my best interest on behalf of my sponsors, if in fact that was allowed, to stay in the sport. And then I don't know whether or not I would have swum in 6 events or 7 events, but I would have stuck around in the sport. But that wasn't the case.
Now, Ian Thorpe has announced he's coming back. What do you think?
Well, about 2 or 3 days ago, I got the phone ringing off the hook. The Australia press were calling me, and I was the first that I heard, and they said, well, what do you think? And my first impression was, oh, now I get to see the race that I wanted to see, which was Ian Thorpe swimming against Michael Phelps in the 200-meter freestyle. So maybe we can see that again.
Yeah, of course, when you wanted to see it, I don't know, was there ever a point where they were both at their peak? Because, of course, you could argue it's a big ask for Thorpe to come back. I mean, comebacks are difficult.
Well, you know, I found it a mystery that he all of a sudden decided to, exit stage left only about 2.5 months before the World Championships that were in Melbourne. And that was about 18 months before the Olympic Games. And I mean, you can speculate why. I mean, there's the reasons that he said, and then there's the reasons that the world thinks, and somewhere in between there may be the answer. But he was the one that was in control of that decision, as he is now with the decision to make a comeback. And I think that, first of all, it's great for him if that's what he wants to do, and he's obviously decided that's what he wants to do. I'm sure that he has sponsors, and I think it's going to be great for the sponsors, and I think it's going to be great for swimming, and I think it's going to be great for the Australians to watch that. But he's not entitled, because of his reputation from the past, to automatically be placed on the Olympic team for Australia. So he still has a lot of work ahead of him to do, and I've heard rumors as to why he might be coming back, or why he came back, or what forced him to come back, and what events he may or may not compete in. But, you know, at the end of the day, at this moment in time, nobody has any idea how that's going to work out. It's just exciting to think about the possibilities.
Well, great for the sport, isn't it? I mean, if it's going to happen, as you say, Thorpe v Phelps, I mean, the whole world will be watching that.
Yeah, although I would have to say that I don't think that Phelps is too worried about it.
No, but I mean, if you were, I mean, you know, you put yourself in Ian Thorpe's very, very large shoes. I mean, why would you want to come back, you know, with the reputation he had and the standard he reached, unless he felt he had a genuine chance to get back to the top? He's got a lot to lose and not a lot to gain.
I think that when you've succeeded at the degree that Phelps has, or the degree that I did, or the degree that anybody that accomplishes an accolade that people respect and looked up to, I think that, you know, it's not a question of what you stand to lose, because nobody's going to take away the accomplishments from the past. They stand on their own record for when they were done at the time. I think that what you have to commend somebody for is that, in light of all of the possibilities of failure, that they put that aside and still struggled through all of that to try to achieve ultimately a successful accomplishment for wherever it's going to take them in that journey. And that is the whole point of life. And when, in all of the years that since the Olympics has been, and it's been close to now 40 years, and when I talk to kids about, you know, what was the inspiration of why I was successful, or what should be your inspiration of why you should do what you want to try to do, and that is that it's the mystery and it's the magic of never having done it before. And those are the seeds of creativity to develop into your personal success story. And it may not be that it's a success that you win 8 gold medals, but it may be just the fact that you took that journey. So here Ian Thorpe is going to take a journey again. And I think the mistake would have been that if in fact he thought it and he decided not to take that journey, that is the biggest mistake. It's not the result at the end of what it is. It's the process. And so we're going to have a chance to watch the process, and we should sit back and enjoy that process. And whatever it is, it is.
Well, Mark, it's been a pleasure speaking to you. Thanks for your kind and interesting words. And the world will await and watch with great interest to see the outcome of Phelps Thorpe. Your money's on your fellow countrymen, isn't it?
No, I don't place bets on any individual. I'm just hoping that Thorpe's journey will take him to be able to swim and compete in an individual event against the likes of a Phelps. I think that Phelps would embrace that. I think that Thorpe would embrace that. I think the world would embrace that, and I'm hoping that happens. You know, what the outcome is, it's almost irrelevant.